Liverpool are making absolutely no more signings, and our contract and our transfer window is done according to absolutely everybody apart from Sky Sports. The Mirror are claiming that we are now focusing on the contracts of Joe Gomez, Diogo Jota, Naby Keita, and Harvey Elliott, who seems to sign a contract every single season with Liverpool. But apparently he wants a new one. Joe Gomez and Naby Keita, I think, makes sense to a lot of people because they're especially Gomez. Keita's on the last year, and there's been a lot of rumours discussing it. Jack used to be a lover of Naby Keita. You have turned on him, to say the least, in our chat. I'll let you explain why, but it seems strange that our transfer window's ending, doesn't it, considering we needed a midfielder. It was the one position we needed going into the transfer window.
We've had a year and a half of this channel. We had the Ben Davies, Ozan Kabak window. We had Ibrahim Konate. And then we came out of this window. We had Luis Diaz, I can't forget. And then we came out of this window. We were throwing punches. We were ready to. We signed 3 players. We had Ramsay, Carvalho, Nunez. We're breaking our transfer record. And we're like, all right, we're done. That just feels weird to me. Like, that just feels so weird to me to end it so soon. I feel like it's my prevailing hope is that this is just some sort of really nice ploy by the PR department of Liverpool to just make the next signing even more exciting. Like, if they just go and sign Jude Bellingham, like, you just have like celebrations across the city of Liverpool for that. I can't imagine we're done. It feels like we're one player short. I've always felt like that. In regards to the contracts, Gomez, love a new contract for him. Jota, he's earned one. I think he's got a big role to play going forward. Harvey Elliott, I think if it's just getting more years on the contract, I think that's fair. I don't think he's earned a kick up in wages too crazily. For Naby Keita, it was like after that final, I was very harsh. What was it? It was pretty harsh. My criticisms of him right after the final. But I feel like where I stand currently is, we can re-sign Keita because we just have the squad space for him. If we got a decent offer for him, sure, I could see him going. But what would we do with that money? Like, we're already paper thin in the midfield. And with the spots we do have are guys like Keita and Thiago who are not consistently fit, and you can't trust them to be consistently fit. I shouldn't say Keita's not consistently fit because he was pretty good with that last year, but you don't trust him to stay that way. I think he's a decent option, and gave him a new contract, 2-3 years, just maintain his value. If he has a good season, is good, because maybe Keita surprises us all and has a good season where he stays fit and he's that guy in the midfield, because he still has that in him. But I mean, when did he sign? 2018. We got 4 years of Naby Keita, and he hasn't really kicked on. Injuries have been very harsh, but I'm losing my faith, if not completely lost all my faith in his ability to be that player we once thought he could be. So hopefully whatever terms he signs make it possible for him to be on a reduced role where it's just a luxury position. Because I think we can't afford to have him and Thiago in the side. I think we need another midfielder, but I think we can afford having 2 guys who, when fit and firing, are great, but they aren't always fit and firing. They both played less than 50% of Premier League minutes. So it's like, that was the big issue, is we couldn't trust those guys to both be together throughout the season.
Yeah, I mean, Neil, you've been very in our chat. You sort of seem fine-ish with, potentially not signing a midfielder. I particularly have been very vocal about needing that right-sided 8 in a sense. I've said the absolute perfect player would be Steven Gerrard in his prime. Unfortunately, Steven Gerrard isn't in his prime. But I think the closest thing to the player we need would be Jude Bellingham. It's no interest at all that we are interested in Jude Bellingham. And the only really right-sided midfielder we have is Jordan Henderson, who has been, let's say, degrading in front of our eyes the past year or so. What do you think we do need another signing? I mean, I think this window's been a success. We've bought players in early. It's been a good transfer window. But I think a midfield signing would take it from good to excellent and, really plug that final puzzle piece to push on to Manchester City even further.
Yeah, so I think my priorities for the window was we needed to sort the backup right back situation out. That was either with Nico Williams saying he was happy to stay as a deputy, or we brought someone in. We've done that. With Mane going, we had to bring in what we hope is a high-class replacement for him. Nunez looks the part. Whether he will deliver, we have to wait and see. So they had to be the ultimate priorities. For me now, I would like to see someone brought in the midfield. I think the issue is the numbers are there already. So I think we've probably got 8 or 9 midfielders if you include Carvalho in that. I know he plays in a more attacking role as well. And Klopp's argument may well be that Milner can play on the right side, Jones can play on the right side, Keita can play on the right side. So I don't see them making a move for a midfielder unless we lose someone. And it's possible because we've got Ox in there that could quite easily move on. Whether they would consider loaning Curtis Jones out, I don't know. But I don't think it will happen unless someone moves on. And the only reason I'm relatively calm about it is I think we're in a good position. If I think back to January 2021, when all the centre-backs were injured and we were scrabbling around to see who we could get on deadline day, I think we're in a far healthier position now than we were then. So, as I say, the right side of midfield would be my next area that I'd want to strengthen. But whether it'll happen, I think, will be dependent on outgoings.
Yeah, I mean, Kev, there's arguments to be had. You know, yes, we have squad depth in midfield, but how good is that squad depth? You know, you've got Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, Jordan Henderson, James Milner. If you want to class Tyler Morton, you know, you look at that and you're like, you've got Fabinho, you've got Thiago, both world-class players. That right-sided midfield just seems a bit average. And as much as I dislike Gini Wijnaldum as a Liverpool player, we never replaced his numbers. And that, you know, if we replaced him that last summer, who knows, was that maybe worth an extra point? Was that maybe worth an extra 2 points? It's hard to say because we can't see the past, but it seemed like a position we needed filled last summer, and to now not go this summer without replacing someone, it just seems a bit naive for me, especially when Manchester City are, you know, in that midfield role, the link with Calvin Phillips as well to replace Fernandinho. It doesn't seem like they mess around it seems like we like to wait for our transfer targets where, yeah, it's good, but it can also backfire on you.
It can, but apart from Ben Davies and who else? There's another transfer that
Oxlade-Chamberlain. Oh, Kev's gone.
Lost Kev.
I think he was going to say, I'll go on for him, but I think he was going to say, obviously, what transfers have done bad. You know, Ben Davies, potentially Karius, Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Oh, yeah.
He's back. He's back.
Oh, there we go. You're back. I'll let you continue, Kev.
Sorry, yeah. It was a good job I went out there. I forgot about Karius. So, you know, it's if you take those 3 out, our actual scouting, our dossiers that we put on players, you know, is very good. I'm in Neil's camp, to be honest. I'm not fair than anything. I think it was more fair last year that we only bought a centre half in, and that was it, and that was our window done. Do you know what I mean? So I'd like to know how Twitter was and how it was on here, because that scared me more last season with just bringing one centre back in and then wait until January to bring Luis Diaz in. Now, this team, I'm sorry, but we finished second. We played every game possible, 63 games. They're a year older, I get it, but I don't see them falling off a cliff. For me personally, I think it's going to be a big season for Elliott, a very big season for Curtis Jones as well. Now, I get that he has been playing rather deep than he's normally used to at academy level, where he's been playing on a bit further forward. But they are going to have a big major say in this season. Also, you know, keeping the likes of the two Quavers who are built out of Quaver crisps, that's Thiago and Keita, fit. If they keep themselves fit, this team can do what they did last season. I don't see where the issue is. I think we need to wait until January. By which stage we may bring someone in. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not concerned about at the minute. I think the numbers are there. I think the numbers are even further there if we change the formation to a 4-2-3-1, because then the emphasis isn't based on the two, it's based on the three that can predominantly play in that position. And I think Bobby will come into his own playing in that position rather than being in a false nine. He plays the number 10. It gives us further options that we can actually do. A lot of games next season, I can see us doing what we did at the end of the season, going to 4-2-4 in situations as well, because we are that dominant, especially at home against the weaker sides. So I don't see it as an issue at all. Don't get me wrong. I may fall on my arse on that, and I'll have people asking me about this after our first defeat in September or so. But at the minute, I'm not concerned as to who if we don't bring anyone. I agree it's an issue, and I agree that Ronaldo, we could look at bringing him in, but who's to say Jake Spearman can't step up and have a go?
Yeah, that's a bold one. I want to jump a point on Charlie. I don't know if you saw the thing that I had sent in the YouTube chat where it was a little like graph scatter plot of players. I posted it on Twitter, not on like my personal one that's right here, but like on I have another channel, and it got like 4,000 likes and like millions of people talking about it. I got so much dopamine from that tweet. It was amazing. But the main thing was about that I hit on was Henderson was Liverpool's most creative midfielder in terms of shot creating actions and goal creating actions. And that's a twofold thing. One, I think it was surprising that he was the most effective, or at least the most creative. It was more so just the fact that he played so much. But it also showcased that we have guys who can get in positions to score. I don't think our midfielders can be purely guys who just win the ball back and give it to the more talented players. They also, I think, in my opinion, they should be able to create something. Like when you think about Stevie, he could score from anywhere pretty much inside the attacking half as a midfielder who also was capable of doing the dirty work and carrying the water for other players. So I think there is a midfielder out there that could really push the needle for us to the next level. That I don't know if Jude Bellingham is the perfect guy for that. I think he is, but and I'm not sure if maybe there is someone lingering out there where they could just, because the midfielders touch the ball. They touch it in the attacking third. They get into the penalty area a lot. So having guys who can be more lethal, bigger threat, that's the spot on the side that I think is of the biggest ability to improve. Either turning that right-sided 8 into a number 10 in a 4-2-3-1, or getting someone there who just makes us a bigger threat. And maybe Elliott is that guy. But I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things to happen. I think we're one player short. So
yeah, look, I just want Jude Bellingham in a Liverpool shirt.
Yes.
But I'm sort of not going into the season. Or going into the transfer window, I was like, we need a right centre mid. It's the first thing we need. But the Darwin Nunez transfer sort of changed it a bit for me now, because I'm 95% confident we're playing a 4-2-3-1 next season. Klopp did it with Lewandowski at Borussia Dortmund. He had a tall striker who, and he loved playing Marco Reus right behind him. That's probably going to be Fabio Carvalho or Firmino or potentially Jota. And I think with that, we don't potentially need a centre mid as much now. You're probably going to have Fabinho and Thiago be that main two in the back, which I think would be perfect. And then you got Keita, Henderson being their main backups, and I think you see the likes of Jones and Harvey a bit more forward and Carvalho. So it's not as big as a thing for me. I just think you can sign him now. Why not sign him now? Like next season, we run into Real Madrid and Manchester City and Manchester United, even though they're not as big as a worry. You run into other clubs because Borussia Dortmund are going to be like, yeah, we'll sell him this summer. Whereas if you go in now, yeah, you might pay an extra 10 mil more, but you guarantee a signing.